So, welcome. Another episode of Sauce's Firehouse. We're excited again today. So, just a few things. We talked about the first episode that we kept saying, well, eventually we'll video. This will be a video type podcast. And right now it's just audio. Well, I recorded it with my iPhone just so we had it for the history that we're sitting down talking. Well, then I talked to this great guy, Matt Stumpo, and he's helping us do the editing. And he goes, well, just send it to me. And then he morphed it in, so we weren't really ready for that. So people are confused. You kept saying when it's video. Right now it's just audio, but we're watching you. So that's kind of the story of that.
And
so
thankfully, we always look good.
Yeah, we look good. We're just naturally beautiful. It's in our genes and in our family line. So we got great hair. No receding lines. Sorry, Eric. But one cool thing, and I didn't even notice, but obviously some people were watching it, but we even said, even if 2 people just watch this podcast, we'll be excited.
Yeah.
Well, as of this morning, we're 252 views.
There we go.
And 43 subscribers. So we're big. We're almost ready to just only do this full time. But
the sponsors are just kicking the door in.
Hey, we have had a couple people reach out to sponsor, so we're
that's awesome.
So we're working on that. But one of the cool things is we knew people were watching is somebody sent us a screenshot, but while we were doing the video, my youngest son and his little brother was peeking through the door back here and eating a donut. So it was kind of a special appearance. So we're like, every once in a while we want them just to pop up like behind the couch or do something.
A little Where's Waldo?
Yeah, a little Where's Waldo? Where's Jacob? But it was kind of funny, and he didn't even know we were recording. But we also changed up from last week, since we're trying to do little arrangements, since we're gonna have some guests. We got a few announcements, and then we'll have the guest introduce himself that you see sitting over here so eloquently. But it's kind of cool. We already got something next week. We're going to be recording a spouse episode, so that's going to be kind of cool. I'm actually kind of a little scared about what
she has to say.
talked about. So, but it's going to be that's a really cool episode. Again, Matt Stumpo. I have some history in Matt. He's a great guy. Great firefighter. He's helping us out, and he wants to be a part, and so he's actually behind the camera, making sure we not sound good, because I sound like shit, but anyway, we're here. But before we get into introductions, closer, turn this. Oh yeah, I remember. Do this, right? So before we get into introductions, we do have an email address. So when I said, if you have any ideas, because there's people out there we don't know about that would be good guests. If you know those people or a topic, saucesfirehouse@gmail.com. So saucesfirehouse@gmail.com.
You'll get a different site if you put that in.
That's a different site. And then also, I guess you're supposed to say like and subscribe and share. So again, that's maybe Jordan's voice will be better to say those. Want to give an update. Again, I'm not going to mention the fire department because we're trying to leave names of fire departments out. But we talked about an investigation that happened. That we talked about passion last episode, and we talked about things that could kill passion. We talked about a fire department that did an investigation on somebody that was injured. They had the aha moment, found this person.
They caught him.
They caught him red-handed, breaking the laws. They had him, and it was the wrong person. It wasn't even the person that was on leave for an injury. It was a guy that was still showing up to work shifts. Well, there's an update on this fire department, and now it's been released that they had a firefighter at a structure fire go into cardiac arrest. Brother firefighters pulled him out, CPR, got pulses. He walked out of the hospital. the city and work comp is denying his claim, saying it was a pre-existing condition. Well, I do know from talking to the person that takes care of our work comp, and I used to take care of work comp when I was the training chief, that there's an exacerbation clause that even if you have a cardiac pre-existing condition or high blood pressure or something, but the activity you're doing causes the event, it should be covered under work comp.
Right.
But
I'd
this
say
city's not.
Being in a house
doing-
fire would, cover that.
Oh, yeah, I would think responding to a house fire would cover it. But so that makes me feel very grateful at the agency that I work for, that they go above and beyond to make sure that our personnel are taken care of when that happens. But they're also really big on making sure that our family is taken care of. And if we have to call in sick because family members, and that gets us back to the street quicker, then they back us on that.
Right.
So we're very I feel very fortunate that we have an administration and organization that backs us and makes sure our health is top notch and our family, because it's not, we got a spouse episode coming up. It's not just about us, but if our family or our spouse is sick, we're not at 100% at the firehouse.
Yeah.
So that's really the updates I have.
Be a good episode.
Obviously, we'll have video, but Jordan, is there anything you need to update or?
Kind of like we
crew
said
do?
kind of like we said last time. If it was no one watched it, it's still a fun time getting to do this with my dad. But
Yeah.
the outreach that people did have, where even the critiques and stuff, we've taken all that into thought.
Yeah.
And even changed a couple things. But yeah, it's kind of crazy, just that many people wanting to listen and having pretty good things to say.
Yeah, and really, really good conversation. People were like, "Hey, how about this? How about that?" My wife didn't like the swim towel and the door back there as a curtain.
As a curtain, yeah. We
I
got a
bought some
real
curtains. We got some real curtains. My sister said, "Hey, can you hide the mouse on my computer?" Because she said it was distracting. Because I'd shake the mouse or he would to keep the computer live. And she goes, it's very distracting. Well, we don't even have sis, there's not even a computer now. I went old school. So that is all good stuff. And we're only going to get better as people tell us. I mean, it's I just excited people are watching and listening. So I haven't looked at the analytics for Spotify to see, but I know a couple people have listened to it in their vehicle.
Yeah, I think
Spotify.
plenty of people have listened to the Spotify, maybe even more, because not everyone has YouTube Premium, so they're like, I can't have it running in my car.
Yes.
So
Then you
Yes.
see a lot of YouTube views as well, probably.
Yep. So we could, instead of 255, we may be at 257. People listen. So, but yeah, anything else, Jordan?
no.
Cool. Awesome. So I'm excited to have this gentleman. We were going to record this several months ago when we went down and did fire behavior at his department. But I just wasn't ready and things didn't work out. We couldn't get down there earlier. So we just went down. He actually gave us some cool swag for his training company. But Eric Jones, we talked about passion last day. This is a passionate guy.
Yeah.
Everything I've known about Eric, we talk about, hey, you see the same people over and over showing up to classes, to curriculum meetings, to this event and that event. And then that Eric's one of those guys. That's how we got to know each other, because we're not running runs together. We're not going on calls together, but we are showing up to trainings, having those conversations. So I'm excited to have Eric on here. He also is the owner of First Fire Culture and Training, which I have here, some swag. Their tagline is "No one else is coming, we are the answer," which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
I'll talk about that.
And we're definitely expected to have the answer.
oh yeah,
Like,
the citizens, they want brain.
if the city doesn't
Rocket
know what to
scientists.
do, they send the fire department to figure it out.
Yeah,
That's why we're rescuing ducks from drains and things. So
Yeah, and they don't necessarily expect us to show up on EMS calls, and they're like, "Well, we didn't call for a fire truck." well, this is what you get. But man, if their house is on fire and you show up, you better be a rock star. They want brain surgeons, rocket scientists showing up, stretching lines. I mean, we screw up with the basics. When I say we, I'm talking about the fire service.
Oh yeah.
So, Eric, introduce yourself.
Hey, well, I'm glad we could finally do this. This is great. I'm looking forward to the other episodes you guys are going to put on here. Yeah, so like we had talked about legacy firefighters earlier. I've been on the fire service now for 19 years. We talked about that. My dad he's still in actually as a volunteer, but he's 43 years in. He's been doing it pretty much all my life. I'm 43 years old. So, yeah, I come from a combination fire department, but I've been volunteer, part-time, full-time, all the above. My passion in the fire service really began with training, and that's like we talked about. I mean, I think really training is the center point of what everything in the fire service is. Without training, we're just people that show up to work and I guess stand there and look at one another, you know. So I think, like I said, that was always important to me. And when I first came on and joined in the fire service, I had good examples and bad examples of that. And I think that you just you take a little bit of that and you say this is what needs to happen, and you go do it. So I probably got involved as a fire instructor in a very young and early age, and I'd say a career in the fire service. But we've really taken it pretty far in my department, my organization, and one of the things that I'm really proud of, and I've spoke a lot about, is our fire academies. All right, training was something that some people were, passionate about and excited about, and some were, like a lot of people, were just like, we have to do this. Yeah. There's a difference in you have to do this and you want to do this. So since then, fast forward, we have, for the last 14 years, ran and developed a fire academy that's regional, and we ended up with usually about 6 or 7 counties and about 30 people. That's still to turn people away every year that are in it, and we usually start that around January, and it usually goes, and it's 6 months of the year, you know. That's pretty good portion of that. I consider the biggest thing that I try to pass on is just taking advantage of opportunities. You guys talked about the organization just being kind of a smaller organization. Mine's probably even smaller than yours. And so not having a lot of that, somebody like really kind of paving the way, it's just taking advantage of those opportunities. So me coming from a pretty smaller department, to be able to, like we had mentioned, working with the Indiana Fire Instructors Association and developing classes, Fire Officer 1, Fire Officer 2, to be done throughout the state. That was big. And then I've been FDIC live fire safety for a long time now. And then I forget about this sometimes, but in 2022, the Indiana Fire Chiefs Association, I got Instructor of the Year for the state of Indiana. That was really humbling. And then just so many other things. I mean, just putting your interest and your thoughts on paper, and to be in fire engineering, I think 4 times or something now, and just things like that is something that, departments normally are a little smaller or whatever may not feel like they can do that. You can. You just got to put yourself out there. Like you had mentioned, the Fire First culture and training, that was something started 2 years ago, actually this month. And it was just an idea of trying to share fire service and things related away from like my personal just life's page, right? And I share things as far as like podcasts like this and training opportunities, and if I see something that I agree with techniques wise, I mean, and to be able to share that to people that don't get it, or don't get the opportunity to have that. I've developed a few classes of my own that I'm out pushing out. My prioritizing the search class is a big one. And I'm working on another one as far as developing an effective fire academy and training program. The newest adventure for me is working on as an adjunct instructor for Insight Fire Training. That's pretty big. Something I'm pretty humbled to be a part of. It is like Andy Starnes has mentioned. It's not we don't we ask you to be here. You don't sign up.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty privileged group. I've been with that group for like 3 years now at FDIC, and they've just really taken me in, and those are just a great group of people. So, yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell, is taking advantage of opportunities and trying to make the most of it. And meeting people from all walks of life in the fire service, whether it be a small volunteer department or IFD around here or something. And just to be able to have some good contacts and have really good friendship with people that are doing it in a national scale and even a world global scale. A lot of the guys at Inside, again, Andy Starnes and Thomas Anderson and all those. And then even Sean Duffy, I speak to him, pretty regularly as far as like things. We just had I just mentioned that earlier, but we had a body recovery, we'll call it, at a fire. We found her, got her out, and anytime something like that happens, I always kind of message him because he's kind of like, to me, the search guy, So, and it's other people along the way that you just met that, you kind of feel privileged to have some form of relationship with, So, yeah, I mean.
Well, you talk about the relationships and how you've worked with this person and now you teach with this person and all that. Well, one of the guests we're going to have come on, he's going to be talking about public safety breath work, Jerry Richart.
Yeah.
Him and I took EMT school together at Decatur Township in 1996. And we were talking on the phone about this breath work because I'm going to have him come in and do this with my crew.
That's awesome.
The admin's going to come in, and then I want them to come on to explain it. And that I would have sat through it and been through the process in his presentation and the breath work so I understand, and then have him come explain it. But it's that full circle. He even talked about when we were setting this up, he goes, do you remember when I walked in the room first night? I said, yeah, you had long hair. It was blonde. You were tan because you surfed and you skateboarded. And he goes, yeah, you were the only one that acknowledged me. And here we are all these years later, full circle. And he's at IFD full time. So it's that networking.
Yes.
You never know.
Oh, yeah.
When you're sitting in a room, that's one of the questions I got, talking about online versus in person and how important in person is. So I really appreciate what you're out there doing. We want to talk more about some thermal imaging stuff too with the Insight, but we were blessed to go down and teach fire behavior and do some small scale props at your fire department. And there were some cool things I saw there, and you actually captured some great videos of us teaching in the dollhouse stuff. But the one thing you didn't mention in your introduction that I thought was really cool was actually a post from last night. Your son.
Oh, yeah.
With that, now he's a cadet. I know exactly what you're going through right now. And Jordan commented on it, but
he did.
Talk about how do you feel about that?
So he just joins a cadet firefighter. Like I said, he's in high school, and so obviously we probably try to do that very strict. We only have 2 cadet firefighters, and they obviously are very restricted on all the things they can do. So a lot of times they just get to kind of watch and observe and just kind of be around the guys and kind of hopefully learn character and things like that. Well, I'm legacy, and now he is too, and he's been on for a few weeks, and he's came to a couple of get-togethers or like a meeting, little small meetings or things like that, information sharing sessions and stuff. He'd come to the firehouse in the summer. So last night actually is when this happened. We were just doing a company drills and stuff like that. We were just throwing some ladders and doing a little roof ventilation on the prop and stuff. And so that's the first time that he's ever really had gear or equipment on or something like that. So I've never really seen him yet. And I try to I was kind of doing more like the ventilation prop, and we had another guys doing some ladders, and he was kind of doing both things. And so he ended up I happened to kind of glance over and seen him with his helmet on and stuff, like was wearing one of my older ones, but still, it's just like I hadn't seen him like that yet, so I just had to capture that picture. And he was with two great guys that were doing a good job with him on some ladder work and just going over the basic, halyard and all that kind of stuff. And he was locked in though, and that was really cool to see him kind of locked in and that, see him like that. So.
Yeah, because when we were there doing the fire behavior, obviously he was there watching.
He was there, yeah.
And
that was his first time. That was his first night ever.
Yeah, and talking to him, we're like, "Was this something you really want to do?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't know. Like, I'm just, grew up around it, so." But even with my two brothers, they're not interested.
Yeah.
Like the fire service didn't. But for me, I'm like, well, because there wasn't anything else I was going to do.
And I don't know how it was for you guys, because like for me, like my dad never like said, "Hey, you should do this."
Oh,
you know what I mean? Or "Hey, you should join as a volunteer for now and until you get into the," I'm like, that never really happened. You know?
Speaking of brothers, so the people who watched the first episode that saw a figure eating a donut through the window is Jacob. Come on, Jacob. Come on out here. Everybody wants to see you. Come. We're going to embarrass you. So there's Jacob. He's not eating a donut right now. So, but we may do Where's Jacob episodes. Let's see if you can see him pop up somewhere.
And he'll probably be on here too. That's another topic.
Yes.
Have my two other brothers on here and just talk about having a dad in the fire service and what comes with that. That was another topic we wanted to do. So,
but no, that's what I'm saying is like he never really asked me or pressured me or really kind of pushed me into showing the interest in the fire service. And then I'm the same way with my son. I was like, if it's something he wants to do, he'll come up to me and let me know or whatever. So we kind of just went with that. I kind of did the same thing. He came to me beginning of the summer and was like, "Hey, I'd like to be a junior firefighter." And I'm like, or cadet firefighter, whatever. I'm like, "That sounds great. We'll get you started." The first night that he ever came was that night that you guys had came down. We did that pretty well. And then, like I said, last night was his first time getting a chance to kind of get his hands on some things, and I try to just stay back and let him just kind of do his own, because that's the way it should be. And I just had to capture that picture though, and when I took the picture, I was still busy doing some stuff, so I didn't have time to look at it. When I got home that night, I was looking at it. I told my wife, I was like, "It's just weird, it's." I'm sure you probably remember the same. It's just,
Yeah, he didn't. There was never like continue on the legacy. This, I mean, it was just do something. Be happy. Mm-hmm. But I mean, both my brothers I wasn't dumb by any means. I mean, I still got above 3.0 in school, but it just wasn't my thing. They're 4.5 GPA, Kelly School of Business, 4.0, Jacob, full ride to where he goes to college. But if you asked him to swing a hammer, I mean, my middle brother realized it wasn't even any in-depth construction at his new home.
No.
But even, I made him finish his garage with me and hang in the drywall. He's like, "I'm never doing it again."
Yeah.
And he's like, "I don't want that." He would love to be a firefighter from 5 p.m. till the next morning.
Yeah.
He comes to the firehouse and plays games and
pizza night.
Pizza night. But
the brass is gone.
It's
top firefighter.
Yeah, but they don't have a want to do it.
And the thing about that, all that is, and I made it on that post yesterday evening, and it was just, I'm not for sure what he's going to do with his career. He may not want to be a firefighter or may never get that chance, but I'm not sure what his goal is. I mean, he's got a couple ideas. Firefighting is one of them, but I just don't know how much he's going to pursue it. But I'm not going to push him if that's what he wants. Right. But the thing is just to learn, take this time as a volunteer or junior firefighter and just learn character and accountability and just what it means to serve others, a selfless act, because I think that even if you take those values out of that, you apply that elsewhere in your life.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's a good thing about firefighting too, is there's not many that are only firefighters.
Yes.
I mean, he could have a hobby he wants outside or work a complete job, but I mean, I went to college afterwards. I mean, there's only few departments that will hire you career right away. So I was like, well, I gotta be 21.
Yeah.
So I'll go to college and see if that's what I want to do. And every single test I took, I was like, why am I just not a firefighter? I hate this. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have not my dad wasn't in the fire service. He did some military, sold furniture, he fixed stuff, he repaired stuff. But my sister was a volunteer for 2 or 3 years in the town next to where we grew up in Maine. I actually have her badge up on my shelf up there. So I saw that, but I grabbed this while you were talking about it. But this is from Saint Jacques, New Brunswick in Canada. And my uncle, Leon Lizot, he was fire chief for a while. And this was their anniversary in 1975, and he was the fire chief. So
In Maine?
this was in Canada.
Oh, Canada.
Yeah, New Brunswick,
Wow.
Canada, right on the other, well, it was an hour north, but into Canada. But he was a fire chief for a while and volunteered for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
But I couldn't understand a word he said because can't speak French. But we got to go to the firehouse a couple times, and they were volunteers and all that. But even though I wasn't around him all the time, he had a little bit of influence. My sister had influence on me. But the last thing I ever wanted to do is force my kid, any of my kids, to be in the fire service.
No, yeah.
And the other thing I don't want them to be Dale Saucier's kid, who's a firefighter. I want them to be their own person.
Yeah.
I want them to make their way, and
That's what you're showing.
You can't get away from him being my son.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a few people, and there's always that, but I don't want him just to ride my coattails.
For sure.
So, and I'm sure you're the same
Oh, yeah.
way
Yeah.
with that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's.
Yeah.
But then on the other side, I think, shit, if something ever happened to him in a fire, the guilt I'm going to have.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That I was the reason why he's a fire, because, I mean, there may have been him being a firefighter without me being one, but
Sure. Yeah.
there was definitely some heavy influence. I got a picture on the bar there, him sitting on my lap, and I'm in fire gear. It was a reading program at a local library, and he was, just a little kid, and there was that. But it's my other two boys. They had different paths, and
all right.
but I'm so proud of them, proud of what he's doing. So it's a cool.
It's,
cool
I mean,
moment.
everybody always says it's the cliche thing to say. It's the greatest job in the world, but it really is, right?
Oh.
I mean, you're going to see and experience a job and a lifestyle that very few occupations have that same understanding.
Yes.
I mean, the conversations in the bays, and the conversations on the tailboard after the call, and being on those fires and watching the sun come up, and just. But there's also the very ugly side of the job as well.
Yes.
That that's the part that I really, I'm excited if it is something that he wants to get into, and throughout this journey. I mean, right now he's still, obviously it's just as a junior cadet person can only do so much. But like we try to, they're not able to do these things and all that. But as he gets older and gets more involved and is able to do more things, I mean. You wanted him to get a taste of that experience of what that's like, and that you can lean on people that you need. Like you mentioned, I mean, everybody is more than just a firefighter. You're electricians and you're plumbers and you're, whatever. So it's like when he's in a situation where he's like, I got an electrical problem. I'm calling this guy, and he's going to come right over, grab what he's doing, and help you. That's what it's about. But there's so much of the ugly side of things, and some of the things that we take away and see and. Experience that it's like that's what I wish you could kind of keep him away from, but it's just part of the job of what it is. But so I mean, I get it. There's a lot of occupations out there that are going to make you just as happy and all that. But
I mean, I never came home living with mom and dad would have a bunch of salesmen. Things hanging on the wall, or an area dedicated to his profession.
Sure.
I actually have his one award he received. It was a funny award for being the most French salesman or something like that. But he didn't have a
it's an
display
occupation.
area.
It's not.
But we do.
They're not going to line it, and it's no offense. I mean, but they're not lining the streets for a guy that's a plumber for his funeral.
But on the other hand. They're not putting the plumber on the front page for a DUI arrest.
That is true. That's actually a good point.
That's the other side.
We're held to a higher standard.
That's another podcast episode.
Yeah,
that is absolutely another one.
We're just held to a higher standard.
You are. And I try to talk to him about that a lot.
You got to be careful. Like, your people know you, or they know that you're, you know, in this career, and we should be held to a higher standard because we're coming into people's homes on their worst day, or expected to save them, so they don't want a dirtbag walking in.
What do they end up doing? We pull up at their house that got a gas leak. Smell of gas.
We have them evacuate their home.
We're telling them to get out of their house, and they're allowing us to walk. They don't let strangers.
No.
They don't let the Amazon delivery person walk through.
Right.
And they hand us their baby when it's not feeling good.
It's a little different today too. It's like, I mean, you grew up with this, but you know, I didn't. And I know you didn't. But like, you know, I didn't have social media.
No.
You know, I mean, there was no social media, like in high school or anything like that. I mean, you had AOL, you know.
Oh, we didn't even have that.
And like our cell phones were just, I mean, you call,
it's not like
text after 9 o'clock, you know. And it wasn't until really, you know, later in college time for me, so I think when like the social media and the smartphone thing just really started kind of coming around. And nowadays, everything is just that. Don't be wrong.
Instantaneous.
One of my first articles, it was all about like the impacts of social media.
Yes.
There are some benefits to it, right? You get to do things like this. You get to do information sharing. If there is conferences or training topics or techniques or information, you can share it to global wide in seconds, right? The downside of that is it can be misinterpreted so many ways. There's so many people that are teaching things the wrong way, or teaching the wrong information, or sharing the wrong information. And I think the same thing applies to social media today. Like when I was in high school, the only way that anybody knew anything that happens, they had to tell the story.
Yeah.
You know?
And
now it's, you know, and him being, talking about my son, just, you know, him being young, he's a pretty good kid. I'm actually really super proud of him. He's a kid by all means, you know.
For sure.
But at the same time, like, he was the one that got, you know, our family really more involved in church than we ever have. He's the one that chose himself to get, like, I didn't, you know, he wanted to get baptized, you know, and then now he's the youth leader of Christian camp over like 5th and 6th grade.
Yeah, nice.
He's not the only one, but he gets, you know, to do that. He's done that for like the last 2 or 3 years now. So to me, like that, you know, he does that all on his own. Like that was all his own purpose that he found. And I'm like, you know, whenever I'm kind of looking at, you know, my kid is like, you know, kind of doing things on his own, like you know, that's proud for me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I tell him like, hey, you know, you're involved in the fire service now to a point, right? And everything you do is going to reflect on you and all the guys in the firehouse and the community and everything else. So you just got to be even smarter all the time about the things you're doing and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Like you said, I mean, you're going to be in the front.
Oh yeah.
It wouldn't even made the news, but with somebody like, you know, you're held to a higher standard.
Yeah, you mentioned the purpose, and I've helped a couple people like with processes like most people have, and like, but now like I have one of my best friends from college, lived with him for multiple years. He's going through his first process and had like his first interview. So I like mentored him through that, and he's just like, you know, he's got a good job, does what he wants, but he's like, there's no purpose.
No purpose.
He's like, one day he was like working with someone and they started choking, and he had to do the Heimlich, and it was successful. And he's like, that was like the first time in my life that I like was like felt like I did something. And I'm like, well, that could, granted, some days it's just a lift assist, but that's what someone's worst day. Especially for us. But that's someone's need. And I was like, you could have a career where you're going to get that pretty much every single shift.
It's funny you just mentioned that. So we were just on a call the other day, and we were working with other agencies, and we got back in the squad, or little rescue we have, and we was coming on the way back, and we were like, man, sometimes I feel like that when we work with these set individuals, like they don't want to be there, right? They do as absolute minimal as possible. They just whatever. And it's just like, at the end of the day, you know, I mean, there's a ton of those calls that we have that we don't want to be there, right? We don't, the
Yes.
call is not emergent. There's no reason that we have been taken out of this, stopping what we're doing for this to go do this, but you just got to do your job and
Yeah.
move on. And at the end of the day, is there some education that can be put out as far as I'm not saying the abuse of 911, but like, you know what I'm saying?
The use of
the use of 911, the proper use of 911 for sure. But at the same time, it's part of the job. It's what we owe to our people.
Yeah.
And like you talked about, like no one else is coming type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, so that really honestly was like there was a situation that happened, not in my department or even in my area, but I was talking to another person, and he was like, we were tied up on a structure fire, and on the other end of our jurisdiction, we had a mutual aid agreement, automatic aid agreement with this other department, and they were very delayed department, not very active, they were a volunteer department. And I think this guy was from Kentucky, I think. But anyway, and he's like, person ended up dying and fatally in a fire. And I'm like, the whole time he's talking, after that, I was almost just a blur. I just kind of hung up on that right there. Because at the end of the day, the fire's going to go out. Let's think, wherever your guys' jurisdiction is, the very tip of it or whatever, and you guys are tied up with an accident, tied up with worse derailment, worst case, some reason, whatever situations happen, you guys are going to be delayed getting that call, and you have to radio in the next neighboring department, or maybe you already had that set up. Regardless of whatever that delay is, the fire is going to be put out at some point. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be something to be proud of. We all may stand back, that department may go, but the life inside that home should always be the priority.
Yeah.
I understand that there are times when fire suppression and all those things need to take place prior to that. There's a time and place for it, though. Every scenario is different. But life safety should always be no one else is coming for them. That neighboring department is not, because if they're a neighboring department, that means they're already so far out that they're not the primary responding person. So in your area, and I try to look at that, and I try to kind of tell us with our guys, and then when I go teach that prioritizing search class to a lot of them, is like, how many people's in your jurisdiction and how many people's in your fire department? Okay, so you say, well, we have 50 guys in our department. Okay, how many people live here? 25,000. There are 50 people that are responsible for 25 plus thousand people at any given time. That's a lot. That doesn't balance out, right? That means you have to have highly qualified people to do the job, but no one else is coming for them. They're depending on one of 12 of those 50 people at any given time to be coming for them. And so that's kind of where that's kind of came from, is that if we don't have that mentality or that prioritizing our people, the fire can go out. The fire will go out at some point, where we have poor tactics, truck situations, delay in response, or whatever. We're going to put the fire out. We're going to be us or neighboring department or whatever, but no one's coming for the people.
Yeah.
And if everybody's like, well, we are we're a volunteer department, but our neighboring department's the career department, so they're going to come rescue them. That's not the right mentality. Send your people to training, get better, whatever you got to do to change your process. Have them automatic aid if that's the case. Everybody's situation and scenario is different, but that's kind of really where that started at, was just in conversation, but just really stuck with me. Like, man, really honest, when you really break that down, no one else is coming for your citizens. When your guys' organization, you can't depend on the neighboring department for that. It has to be you guys, and everybody kind of has to have that driven mentality. And there's data out there, and there's statistics and research out there that's going to tell you the information we never had before. And those organizations, you can't think enough. I mean,
and we're fortunate enough in our organization, we have staffed departments around us, so we're getting research. Yesterday,
Ample
perfect
resources.
example, we're emptying all of our firehouses for 3 of our firehouses for pour gas inside of a structure. Well, as we all marking around, a cardiac arrest is coming out at a nursing home. So our 4th station, which is a staff between 2 fire departments, are responding, but there's that delay. Where you're at and where a lot of people are at in the state, your mutual aid could be people that don't even hold Fire One.
Yeah.
They have the, you know, they're, unless the organization holds it to a higher standard.
Right, yeah, and all surrounding us would all be volunteer departments.
Yeah.
And they're a great group of people. And those guys, and especially in the last decade, have truly started training a lot more and being all certified now and all of that, which that's good. But at the same time, the delay in that response is going to be just, it's not going to be an automatic A where they're coming at the house at the same time you are. So that's something that we face. But, you know, we don't really have to really require or request too much, you know, assistance. But if we get a good commercial fire, we get a good, we have automatic aid agreements for that. Just send us, you know, another ladder or send us whatever, manpower or whatever. And we get pretty good work out of that. And that we're thankful for. We try to do a lot of countywide training to kind of get them up to the kind of the things that we need them to do and want them to do. But it's not the same, right? The job is not the same for them. They're not there at the station on you know, whatever. So.
And you talk about the course you teach, that prioritizing surge. Look at VES.
Yeah.
I mean, for us, our organization, and I know you, VES is not weird.
No.
It's high risk.
Yeah.
But high reward.
Yeah, 100%.
But you go, I guarantee you probably teach at some departments like, whoa, you want me to do what?
Yeah.
You want my people to do what?
Yeah.
Whereas if you prioritize the people, that's not it's not unreasonable to ask somebody to do that.
It starts with just understanding your jurisdiction, understanding your, you know, the type of occupancy that you have in different areas, and your senior housing and your first time home buyer, your rich class, your high class, your low class, whatever that kind of unit it is, because they all have different living habits. But at the end of the day, the human nature is human nature. We all go to sleep at the same times. We all type of thing like that. So at the end of the day, you know, I always hated the whole thing of like, well, how do you know if somebody's home? We're going to look for a car in the driveway. That doesn't mean anything. How many people are working from home now? You know, or how many people are maybe not even have a vehicle, you know, or whatever. That is too much of a black and white. There is no black and white in life. It's all gray, right?
The old Tot Finder stickers.
You know, yeah. and you know, I think there's a lot of things that you know, Fire Research has put out, and other organizations have put out, U.S. Fire Administration, everybody, and that's putting stuff out to the new 4,000 survey. Put that out there to your guys. It's free.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, report to it yourself. And that's why in 2022 they put the 3,000 out. In 2024 they put the 4,000 out. And it's not that we just got 1,000 more rescues. It's that people are reporting more.
They're actually reporting it.
You know, just last week I just reported the one there. Now, granted, I mean, it already deceased on arrival type thing, but I mean, at the end of the day, those are statistics they want to know, and that's all you're trying to do is just helping the cause. And but it's giving you information that's out there as far as like your response time from the station, your response time once you arrived on scene, and how fast was you at the door. You know, once you made entry, how fast you found the victim, how long did it take you to get the victim out, what's the victim's conditions, what type of search was it a split search, was it VES, was it oriented, you know, whatever. And you start getting into you know, departments like mine, which is a limited staffed department. You know, a good friend of mine, Joey Baxley, he's also on Insight. He's from West Virginia. Him and his brother Lynn, they have a department very similar to mine. And you're trying to, you know, people are trying to do multiple tasks. You're not just, there is no just backseat firefighter. You're in the backseat, you're getting this, you're doing this, you know. And so, you know, I'm familiar with them, so we always kind of talk, and we have a lot of things in common as far as our department size and how it operates. And, you know, so you just got to understand your department's limitations. You got to know what your department can do. I mean, how many people, what's the minimum number of people you can initiate to a search? and train on what your guys is to put those crazy situations in, make it a hoarder house, throw a bunch of stuff in your tower, and give it the worst situations ever, and see how effective and quick you can locate the victim and get the victim out. Because that's the easy part's finding them. The hard part's getting them out,
Yes,
right?
because they're all slick. And, and that's the other thing. Put baby oil all over your mannequin.
Right. And
Make it realistic.
Yeah, and there's that, and there's just understanding, like, VS is great, but fire suppression is also important too.
Yes.
And sometimes it's searching off the line, and
I've
there's
done
just
that more than regular search.
And that's when we just did this last week. That's when we found her. That was what happened. Was searching off the line. And so there's just, like I said, there's not one way of doing anything in the fire service. A million ways is what works for you, and what works best for that situation. I'm not an Alabama fan in the slightest bit. Roll Tide, I don't get any of that kind of stuff. But Nick Saban is, to me, he is an unbelievable leader. And if you ever read any of the stuff he puts out or follows any of the things he puts out, it's just, honestly, I'm a Nick Saban fan, not an Alabama fan. But like Nick Saban he just talked about this the other day when he was in high school. He was they were down 18-0, and they bring the game back, and they had one snap left in the game. They ended up winning the game, and it came down to, it was asked and questioned, you have two people, you have the fastest receiver and fastest tight end or something like that. You have two options. He chose an option, and they won the game. He said, the coach came up to him and said, hey, why'd you choose that one? He said, because I think overall, consistently in practice, he's a better player. He's put more practice in. The moral of the story was, his coach said that was his first lesson he ever learned, was it's not about the best tactic, but it's about the best person. So at the end of the day, you got to have the right people. When we get on the scene of a structure fire or a motor vehicle accident, we all, tactics go in our head, and ventilation and water supply and all these other things that go in, but having those people there that know how to get the job done. At the end of the day, I think we all kind of understand that's what the beauty of this job is. Just not everybody's at the same level.
Yeah.
Not everybody, you go into everybody's firehouse and everybody walks in with 20 years experience. This guy started yesterday, and this guy over here has been on for 30 years, But that doesn't always mean, because you get in that conversation of the new firefighter versus old firefighter. Well, this guy's been on for 30 years, but he didn't, like the old saying goes, did he do 31st years?
Yes.
Did he just show up to work for 30 years? Because training nowadays, I feel like it's at your fingertips.
It's all over the place.
Good and bad, but it's at your fingertips. You can do online training, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I mean, online training, in-person training, social media, just things. We're back, like when my dad started. I mean, it was, you either read the book or you
waited
drove
for
this
fire
place and
engineering
took
to
the
show
class,
up.
And
Yeah, you could be at the dinner table and someone shows you this fire, and then next thing you know, you've been talking about the tactics and everything for the last hour.
Sure.
I mean, that's something I've said a lot, and it's like, what you put into this job is what you get back.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
if you want to come in and get on that truck and do what you're told to do, and then that's okay. It's everyone's careers to do their own, but
Absolutely.
you can go throughout the country and do so many, meet other people from other worlds. Like, we're lucky to have FGIC in our backyard.
Oh, yeah, I tell you.
And multiple other training opportunities that are people come throughout the country to this state for.
Yeah.
But I mean, if this career can be way more than just a job, if you want it
you're
to
right.
be.
It's what you put into it. I mean, if you just show up, do your job, put your head down, you'll have a great career. But I mean, you got to make it. I feel like that the purpose, and I think I mentioned this to somebody before, is like, I feel like the ultimate goal would be like when you retire, and like me being a guy that really been involved in training, and even if, whatever, but let's say, I was retired right now, and if I came back to the firehouse a couple years later, I would want the training program to be even better.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's the goal. The goal is to make people around you better. correct them, guide them, counsel them, coach them, mentor them, all those things to be better than you are, to take what you've created and what you've built and make it better. Because I feel like that if you come back to that organization and it's in shambles, or it's not, the culture's bad, and nobody's training, or the things that they're doing are ineffective and stuff like that, and like, then I feel like that you would kind of have to take that a little personal, that you failed, right? And so I think the goal is to better those that you serve, and at the end of the day, the goal would be to make it better than you made it, because you created that, you gave that person the tools and the resources and the insight to and hopefully the encouragement that you believed in them, that they're going to take it even more. You know, I think, to me, that's the goal. I mean, I think is to make it, you know, to come back to something you've worked for, or you guys in organizations, is to come, you know, to be able to stop being ever so often and see it still continue to grow and excel and things. I mean, I think that's they know that you as a part, this is just one little small part of it, and that's all that matters, you know.
And that's where, you know, years and years ago, we were always told, hey, it's a shame that somebody walks out the door and they take their slideshow with them. When we used to have the little carousels that went around, and now it's like, it's a shame to have that PowerPoint walk out the door. That information walking out the door, because even a guy that you may not think is tactically strong, there's something he has taught you along the way.
Oh yeah.
And so it definitely, and it does feel good when, you know, you go back and, hey, I had a part to do with this. I mean, the department I used to work for full time, you know, they've gone through a lot of changes, a lot of personnel changes and all that. But if I walk into the headquarters firehouse, the mural I painted in 2001 is still, they've remodeled the whole firehouse and it's still there. They painted around it. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
See, what would you, let me ask you a question. What would you say would be your, just a moment or something that's happened to you that's been very rewarding, as far as like something you did and kind of felt like you know? Because I have something for me, but I was just going to see what she thought.
My thing is, and it's not just one, it's that moment when somebody goes, you helped me along the way.
Yeah, mine's very similar.
The mentor, like, man, you're a mentor to me, and I'm like, whoa, I'm a mentor to something. That just, the first time I heard that, I was like, I don't feel like I should be a mentor to anybody.
Yeah.
But when somebody says that, that's the one thing. Jordan saying that, you know, I looked up to you, you know. Well, Matt and I talked the other day, and, you know, there's just some of these guys come up and say,
I agree.
You're a mentor.
So we talked about that academy class that we do every year, and the last 7-8 years, we've been, a lot of these guys are moving on to some good departments and big departments up around IFD and Indianapolis and surrounding everywhere, all the way down to the southern part, and even into Kentucky. And to see them move on and doing good things and is I mean, I take a lot of pride in that. But so the last 2 years, Columbus Fire Department, actually, they hired 3 out of my last year or 2 years ago's class. And they were like, all of them were like, individually, none of them knew that they were all doing it, but individually they were like, hey, I'd like for you to come to when I get sworn in. And I'm like,
that's cool.
I just stood in the back of the room. I mean, I just kind of, you know, they see me, but just that right there is something so simple. It was just like, they didn't have to, I mean, I could have never spoke to them ever again, you know, but for them to being so excited about getting hired, and it's a great department, and to just, you know, kind of want me to be there for that 10 minutes that time, is just like, that was great, you know, just to take some time off and went up there and you know, watched them get, you know, brought in, and a couple of them even call every so often and tell me about like their first fire they had, and like, that's just really cool. They don't have to do that, you know, but they even thought of that. Was, you know, it's just kind of makes you feel kind of special, like you made a difference in somebody, you know. And just like he was talking, me and him were talking at first, I mentioned the guy, you know, I was like, that was like one of the first guys that I ever had as a fire instructor, you know. Don't know anything about him, but, you know, it was just kind of like, you know, I remember that name. And I don't know if I remember telling you this or not, but at FDIC this year, we're at the Wayne Township side a lot, and they have all the IFD recruits. You know, those guys.
Yes, they work their butts off.
They work their absolute tails off. Well, they had these two guys, great guy. They ask a million questions, and I love it. And the other guy's like, man, these guys ask a lot of questions. Like, man, just eat that up, because they're wanting to learn. They're eager, and so they're both legacy firefighters. And one of them, he told me who he was, and I don't know him. You know, the other one, he told me his name, and I'm like, I don't know him. He's like, well, my mom, you know, she's a lieutenant for IFD. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, she told me her name. He told me her name. I'm like, there's 1,000 people I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's like, well, you may know my grandfather. I'm like, who's that? He goes, Harry Tibbetts. And I was like, I went, well, hold on a minute. And I was like, yeah, he was my first fire instructor I ever took out of fire school. And Indianapolis Fire School, you know, years ago for the IFIA, and I was like, he taught first in, last out leadership, and then he did a building instruction class the next day, and I still had the notes from that, you know, and he's like, so now I seen Chief Wood from Decatur Township, whatever, and I was like, hey, you know, this guy's grandfather's Harry Tibbetts, and he's like, right after I just got done telling me he had big shoes to fill, he's first thing he said, you got some big shoes to fill, you know?
Absolutely.
And so that's kind of neat, you know, the whole legacy and just that, and just making, you know, a difference in people and stuff like that. So one more story on that is so a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago or so at FDIC, some of the guys that, you know, they bring the truck, their engine up there, supply to assist with some live fire stuff, and this guy was eager to get in, and we were like, well, maybe in between the students or something like that, we'll bring you in, let you just see what it looks like inside. And he's like, well, I just got hired at this department, and we haven't had any live fire. I don't have any live fire experience yet. No. He's getting in the academy. He's getting ready to start. And so me and Sean Duffy took him in to this burn room, and we sit there for 30 minutes or so just talking fire. Well, it's a small little fire, but we just sit there and watched it kind of chase over.
This is some of the best training
and
there is.
We were just sitting there just casually talking. I mean, the fire was, like I said, probably over there by that wall, and it was just kind of just barely maybe 4 or 5 feet in, and we'd hit back ever so often, and it was just talking. And I'd forgot about it, to be honest with you. And at FDIC, like I think it was last year, he kind of came up to me and was like, you probably don't remember me. He's like, but you and another guy took me in or whatever. And I'm like, well, that other guy's way bigger than I am. I was like, you know, he's a big name, you know. And he's like, I'll never forget that. And that was really cool.
Yeah.
So
you never know when you're going to influence and make an impact on somebody. And he'll talk about that forever.
Yeah. And that's the neat stuff. I talk about things that I experienced with other people. I'm like, that was so cool, you know, and so I think everybody has those moments of those people that, you know, didn't have to take the time to talk with you, or didn't have to take the time to give you that time of day, but they made a difference. I think not even just in the fire service, but I think in life in general, you know.
I still remember when one of the old guys, when I first started, told me when to pull up the 3/4 boots. You know, because he didn't wear his 3/4 boots correctly, and he got hurt, and it was like, it's been a few years talking 3/4 boots, but you know, it's like I never forget that conversation with Valaire Bollier. He was our deputy chief. I mean, rest in peace, Valaire. But
I'm sure at your time too. I mean, I know you're still a little newer in it, but still, I'm sure that you are.
Yeah, I think being newer in it, that's the hard part, is to be like, when do you feel like you've done enough to like pass knowledge on? Like to be only, I mean, my second year at the previous department, only been there 2 years, never done it before, wasn't a volunteer or anything, and they're like, hey, you want to come help with an academy? It's like, well, I got one more year on than these guys, what can I really teach them? But then quickly you realize, like you've mentioned before, is there's probably some 30-year guys at those departments that I knew more than. And it's it is like, there is something to,
I don't know,
have you really done it for 30 years, or have you just been clocking in for 30 years?
Well, and you know this, and I mean, and everybody, I mean, I would rather go to a group of people and walk into a room of 1,000 people I don't know than your own people.
We just experienced that recently.
That's a hard training.
I mean, I love my department. That's, to me, that's what it is, you know what I mean? But, and I grew up around it all my life. I've lived there all my life. I've watched my dad, everybody in it. But we actually have, you've seen our front museum area, right? So we have some meeting minutes. So we have some meeting minutes still that are handwritten from like the early 20s, and like my grandfather on my mother's side was on them, and so like I go kind of with it a long ways, but like there's just some great things about that. But yeah, I love my department, but sometimes you get there for training evenings, you're like, okay, we're doing this now, we got this on the schedule, we got company training this, and it's so interesting. And I hear this from all the instructors. It's like if I wrote down a script for you to teach, and I did it one night, and then you came in the next week and did the exact same thing verbatim,
completely different.
They're gonna be like, man, that guy was awesome.
Yeah.
And you're like, are you kidding me? Like it's the same thing. But I think it's important. We started doing a lot more of that, bringing guys in and just different people and just getting different perspectives. And when you guys came down, they loved that. And so I just think it's good to get fresh faces and different people and everybody. You may have a guy that's a huge like engineer or something like that at one time, but you may have wrote the book on it, but you have somebody else come in from a different perspective, and it's completely different. Like you talk about like rural water supply. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
When we do our academy class, I'm not teaching that. I got a whole other person.
Yeah.
And then just like for me, like I think our tallest building's like 4 stories, right? I have no business. I go with our guys. Our department's very familiar with like what we need to do, standpipe operations, FTCs, all that stuff. But if I'm going to talk high-rise operations, I'm going to IFD or I'm going to like Louisville, Kentucky, or something like that. I'm not going to be teaching it.
Yeah,
4-story buildings on a high-rise,
Yeah.
So
barely a mid-rise.
I think that's the thing is that in the fire service we have such a tactile job. We have the largest toolbox in the world, right? And it takes everybody in the cab of that truck to make it work. And I think it'd be impossible to be the master and expert of all of it, right?
Oh yeah.
And I think you see a lot of instructors. That's what they start to fall a little bit, is that they don't pass that on. They don't say, they don't have the comfortability to say, this guy's the expert in that subject and this guy over here is the expert in that subject. To say that I'm not the expert in that is, I think, hard for people to do, but I feel like you have to. I mean, I feel like you're just going to set yourself up and your people up for failure when you're never willing to be the guy that says, that is not my expertise, and this is the areas that I still need to work on myself. You have to be a student of the craft for your career.
I mean, nobody wants somebody just read a PowerPoint to them.
That's the worst.
We can read a PowerPoint ourselves.
That's the worst.
And that's why when we go do the fire behavior, I'm not going around teaching
straight
12 different topics either. We have honed in on fire behavior.
Yeah.
We make our own PowerPoint, and we have videos included, and we do the tabletop scenario
it was great.
demos. And when you talk about being, coming in, bringing somebody in, I had a battalion chief, IFD, asked me to come in and do fire behavior early on when I first started doing this to their battalion. Well, I'm like, I'm an out-of-county townie.
Yeah.
Going into an IFD battalion. And a couple things I noticed. Some people were like, at first, like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? What's this little dollhouse thing? But they were the people have been on the job for a while were the ones that started videotaping.
Yeah.
They're the ones who came out to me and says, nobody's explained it this way before.
Yeah.
And then the battalion chief goes, I wish I could get my people to listen to me when I talk.
Yeah.
But they were honed in on you. But it's so true.
Yeah.
It's not because it's me. It's not because it's Dale Saucier. It's a different person.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
but, you know, it's those things. It's bringing in the right people to talk.
It's the right people, and it's also just, you know, you have to read the audience too.
Yes.
And you did that really well, our department. But you know, if you're coming in very serious and the department is not so serious, then you're going to break that up a little bit. You're going to lose them. If you're too loose in the department, you know, and you're going to opposite of that too. But I mean, nobody wants to come into any class and listen to an instructor like we had talked about before, you know, for 30 minutes talk about themselves.
Yes.
It's like you're doing the same job we all are. You're just at a different place, and you might have a few different experiences, but at the end of the day, the experience still all brings it back to something we all know, right? And I've always looked at it like the fire instructing part is like a car salesman, for example. Like, we can go to your local dealership down the road here, sign the paperwork, become a employee of a dealership, and learn how to sell cars and what the market means here and how to go to finance and what you all got to get somebody out the door. But it takes a certain charisma and character and personality for that person to be excited about the car purchase they just made and to go tell their friend about it, and then when it's time to buy the next car, they go right back to you again.
Yep.
To me, that's I kind of feel like that's the same way the fire instructor is, right? You know, like, you can go get your instructor for that promotion reasons, but you probably just need to not be that. You know, you could probably, you know, there's a lot of people that are out there. It's like that. I mean, that have the certification and have went through the motion of it, but aren't practicing when working. And I'm almost certain that you probably did this, and as you get into this, you may as well, and you may have, but like, if I'm doing like a class, like, or whatever, even if it's a class I did a million times, I may look like a fool, but I am in a room by myself doing that, reciting it to no one.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that you have to go through those motions of that versus, you know, just winging it. And you can tell preparation is the biggest thing.
Well, I prepare trying to find new things to show people on fire behavior, and I've had neighbors pull in and go, "You okay? I heard a boom." So mine's a little different, but yeah, the preparation is huge. You can tell the person comes in, it's like, so I went FDIC. You know, it's a great time. I mean, but we know people, we get free passes because we provide apparatus.
Yeah.
There's people that never use them. But
I don't understand that.
We've gone up to classes before, known around the circuit as the expert on this topic, and sat in the classroom and literally read off the PowerPoint like the first time you ever saw the presentation, and it was, we walked out. We walked out, and it's like, but then you can have the nobody that got accepted to teach, and you're like, oh my gosh, this guy is blowing me away because he's so articulate, so prepared, and reads the room. Because like I said, when I read the room, I find the person who's the old person and try to relate to them. But then
it's
also
like
to the new person.
I think it's very much like a concert, you know. It's like you listen to these people, you're like, oh yeah, I really like that group. And you go see them in concert and they're terrible. And you're like, I can't listen to them anymore. You know? And I think it's the same way. I'm not going to mention names, but there are people that I've, before met them, like, really liked them and really followed them and really kind of liked what they were about. And then you get to know them a little bit, and you kind of see the personal side of things, and you're like, you know, I don't know if I don't think this guy is what I thought he was, or maybe I think it's a maybe. Because there's so much of this now, and we see it a lot because we're so convenient to go to FDIC, but like, there are so many people that are there for the show. And what I mean, I'm talking about I'm talking about themselves as the show. And
to sell the next book, to sell the next thing.
And you see that a lot in social media, which is fine, but at the end of the day, I mean, I try to tell a lot of people, because we got some young guys that get into some people, right, certain guys in the fire service, and I'm like, great. Either you know, I may not really care for that person, or I may not agree with that person's go is, but if you like it, just you're passionate about it, go for it, right? But don't be, at the end of the day, you know, don't drink the water. because a lot of times at the end of the day, they're just a person like as much as you are. Yeah, they may be on a FD&Y or they may be on this big department, but they're still doing the same job you are in a sense, right? I mean, obviously.
There's a big name out there, and I'm not going to get into names and all that, but huge name on the circuit, respected by a lot of people. I actually have one of his books, sat in a lot of his conversations, and then brought him into my organization years ago, and just the ride from the airport down, lost a lot of respect for the guy. And it was like
that happens. There's a neighboring, not a neighboring, but there's a department probably 25, 30 minutes from us that had brought in a person that was big, and of course I just came as a student just to hear him talk, and I thought he was great. But talking to some of the guys, that actually one of them, especially the one that went and picked him up, he was like it's almost the same thing. You know? So I feel like at the end of the day,
offline we'll have that conversation. It's see if it's the same person.
So I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's just that pride is great to have. I think it's something it's the dopamine that you want to have, but at the same time, but at the arrogance becomes a problem.
Yes.
And I think sometimes that we see that a lot in the fire service sometimes, and anyway.
And talking about the training, I know you said like they bring you on, but what about Insight made you want to join to like
Insight? That's Insight was something that so I started out with them with just live fire safety, just FDIC, and before that it was Alvarez with out of Jersey, and those guys were awesome too, great group of guys. Then Insight came in the following year, and of course I knew Andy Starnes. Everybody knows Andy Starnes, and I was always very passionate of thermal imaging. I was always a guy that just, instead of just taking off the truck and I got into it, and so I was a pleasure to meet him, and he was very polite, very respectful. And I tell you what started it for me was before when the first bus came in, like, students are here. He's like, all right, I need everybody over here, and just us, the safety guys, and you guys too. So we go over there, and he does this big whole like prayer of his guys, and I'm like, that was cool. You know what I mean? And the way he treated his people and the respect they had for them, the respect everybody was there to see Andy Starnes. I mean, when you looked at the class, it's not even his class, right? It's Thomas Anderson's class, which is also another great instructor, but like they were there for Andy. And he made sure that he gave a business card and shook every single one of them students' hand, and if they wanted a picture, he did it. But he gave all the credit. He was the last person to speak. He gave all his credit to all his people, all the guys, and none to himself. And I was like, that's awesome. And then but all the guys were instantly like, let's go out, on the Monday night and Tuesday night and stuff like that. Let's go out, and it kind of made me feel like one of them. And then the second year was the same way. Like they were excited to see me again. It was kind of like, that's cool, And then the third year was like, it was hugging and everything else. And it was just like, I'm here just as to help these guys, I'm here we set the fire, all these other different things for them, and it was just kind of like, hey, talk to these students for a while, so you start talking to students for a while, and it was just like, and then we were leaving the show, and I stay in touch with these guys all the time. Actually, they came to a couple of areas locally, and I actually drove and just met them and hung out with them and had dinner with them and stuff like that. Andy would always like and share a lot of stuff that I put out there, and so this year at FDIC, as I was leaving, he said, "Hey, are you coming back?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm coming back tomorrow. I'm driving home tonight. I'm coming back with my kids and wife and stuff like that on Friday. They like to see the trucks and everything." He said, "Talk to your wife about it, but I talked to the guys. We're going to bring you on." And I'm like, I never even asked him. He's like, "No, we're and that's the way he makes it very point. He's like, we don't, we asked you. You are invited to be here with us." And I'm like, So but it's legit. Like it's not just, oh yeah, here you are, you're on now. Like we got to do all these trainings. And it's legit. I mean, and there's some, there's a lot of things that you kind of can't talk about, but like it's a legit thing.
Yeah.
And they do it all over globally. They're going to Japan or China at the end of the year, and they go to Germany all the time, and they Poland, and I mean just all these crazy things. And just to be a part of that is awesome. Great group of people. We got guys from everywhere, all over the country, all over the world. Stefan's from Germany, and just the whole group, and just to be a part of it is awesome. To be able to take the knowledge of thermal imaging even more, like I feel pretty knowledgeable about it. And then when you start talking to Andy, and you're like, yeah, I don't know anything, but
yeah, that's something we talked recently, had a training, and we've said that thermal imagers is one of those things you say, hey, here you go, and then
but it's funny
there's nothing beyond that.
It's funny you say that. Like that's so I mean, yeah, obviously, like I do some thermal imaging training for some people, and he knows that. Like it's not a big deal. Like in my neighboring department, or somebody says, hey, come here and teach some thermal imaging for us, I'll come down there and teach some thermal imaging for you. But I'm always going to recommend having that insight coming in, because they're going to bring it to a whole nother level.
Oh yeah.
But in a lot of the trainings that I do, it's funny that I was doing a prioritizing the search class to a department, pretty good size. I did all 3 of their shifts, and I probably spent 30 minutes just talking thermal imaging with them. And in that 30 minutes, they're like, yeah, we learn more in 30 minutes than we have the 5 years we've had this camera.
Well, it's misunderstood,
and
because nobody teaches it.
So many people say that exact same thing you just said.
And then everyone recognizes it. And they go, yeah, we don't know enough about this thermal imager.
You got to know your camera.
And then no one ever trains more on it.
You got to know your camera. Everybody's camera's different. And like with Insight, we don't care what camera you have, right?
Well, I think we talked too. They're changing the standard.
Yeah,
because we talked about the temperature gauge.
Standard.
I said the temperature gauge is the worst thing we ever did.
They're taking the temperature off, and that's a big part of it. And then, but it's just the camera orientation. A lot of times they make the camera where hold it. You got your trigger on the bottom, and you're holding it like this, right? Which is great. But I have some guys, we do a forced entry door. When you're forcing the door, you should always be making a quick scan before closing the door.
Oh yeah,
that's something we train on. A lot of times I'll put our Ruth Lee, mannequin right in front of it, and I'll put it literally from here to that table away, and they'll go do this right here, and they'll scan, and they don't see it. And turn them sideways. And not every camera will do that, but most of your cameras nowadays are going to floor hallway ceiling to find the victim. But the biggest failure in training in thermal imaging is the training itself on it.
Yes.
Not just to how to operate the camera or what mode you're in. That makes a huge difference, what mode you're in. But is training on actual victims. All right, right now, if we had a ticket right here, we're all going to look bright white, right? Mm-hmm. But in a real environment, you're not going to look that way. You're going to blend in.
Everywhere's hot.
You're going to blend in with the environment, and it's harder to see you. It's not like, oh, there they are, right there. It's not like that. And so many people don't do that. They train with like, okay, we're going to have real victims in the. I mean, not under live conditions, but like in a training tower, we're going to smoke it up, and we're going to put live victims in there.
In there, it's like sunlight coming through.
Stop. Don't do that. The Ruth Lees are great, or other mannequins are great.
Yeah.
Even if you're making it out of hose or whatever, it's still great. Mm-hmm. But it's that environment. And speaking of thermal imaging and training, so I set up a scenario, and it's nothing groundbreaking. It's pretty just a simple, basic scenario. Earlier this year, we were just doing some company training, and I got a small little wood furniture that was made. I had a bed and an end table, and had just a 55-gallon barrel can, and put it in one of the burn rooms. And they had to search that room under live fire conditions. So I was cooking the room to start with.
Oh yeah.
And it was burning in there slowly for about 2 hours prior to that. So it was warm. The fire was just for theatrics, because the flame was no more than 2 feet out of the barrel. Mm-hmm. That was nothing but theatrics. It was the room was seasoned pretty well.
Were getting
it was
warm
warm. As soon as they opened that door up, it was warm. I can't remember exactly what it was. It's documented on our thing, but it's probably like 250 or something, 300. It's just warm. I'm not trying to kill somebody. I'm trying to get them, So anyway, but we had to do a small, quick search with live fire conditions, whatever. Well, just last week we found that the occupant in that home and got him out. One of the guys that was with me was part of that training, and I told him, "Hey man, good job. Appreciate you helping getting him out and everything else." He's like, the first thing I thought of was that training that we did, where the live fire was there, fire was coming over, we had to go under the kind of the little bit of the flame you had and pull the fire out. And I'm like, he's like, that's pretty much just like that scenario we just had. And I'm like, I never thought about it, but it was, I forgot about that training, but he remembered it.
Yes.
And I was like, that was cool,
Well, and to let people know, when I made the comment about we should never have the temperature on there and they're making the changes, is the fact that they think they're picking up the convective currents when it's solid surface temperatures is what you're reading.
Yeah, of course. And a lot of times people also have the wrong camera.
Yes.
Like situational awareness and decision-making cameras. I mean, that's a big thing. So, obviously the situational awareness cameras are, they're nice because they're small and they're very personal and whatever. But chiefs, on the other hand, or people that are making these purchases are going, ooh, those cameras are cheaper. We're gonna buy those.
And I can put them on all the seats.
And I agree with that. Those are great cameras, and I would always recommend to purchase those cameras. Those are great, but the intended purpose is different. Those are really good for search, for a company officer to maintain crew integrity of the skies. And you're going to see fire. You're going to see the heat signatures and stuff like that. But most of those cameras are going to fail at a much more normal temperature than that we go into. And the environments that we go into, it's either become saturated, it's going to begin to fail because of the temperature. But also, it's not meant to read convection currents. It's not really meant to read seeing through transparency through fire and stuff like that. It's meant for a search. It's meant to identify a person, a firefighter, or whatever. And so when I do normally like thermal imaging training, we may get a barrel or something going, or may get a fire going or whatever. I'll hand them one. Here's a situational awareness camera. Now we're looking at fire behavior now. And it's just a big red blob that loses all its transparency and action and all that kind of stuff. And that's really bright. And where you have your decision making cameras, which are bigger and whatever, but the quality is bigger, the ratio is bigger, the refresh rate's bigger, and you're going to see those convection currents. If I have a fire and I may have a victim on the other side of that fire, I may see that victim through that fire. I'm not getting that through that
lag
smaller
time,
cameras. No. And then the other things I'll do is I'll say, I'll get 5 or 6 guys in the room, and what's the temperature? And they're all like, 290. Well, how you know it's 290? That seems pretty specific. That's what it's telling me. That is one pixel.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is picking up that one signature. It's really the environment. Those are for service technicians and stuff like that. We're not reading cameras like that. We're the fire service.
Yeah. I actually learned it from one of Andy's videos.
Quantitative and qualitative.
When you go in, you may say, oh man, it's a whiteout condition. He goes, not a whiteout condition. You might be looking at a couch.
Yeah.
A back of a couch.
Yeah.
Or he goes, wipe your lens.
Yeah, so
because of condensation.
You wipe your lens. We do 3 things. You wipe your lens, wipe your screen, wipe the camera. The camera lens, your face piece lens, and camera or screen. Because it's a lot of that's condensation, and we all know that. It's that high moisture content and stuff like that. That's
they had the built-in sights, Scott sights and theirs and that.
Do you still have them?
Bloomington. They took them all out.
Yeah, those we demoed them at our department for a while. They had their advantages, but the battery life was terrible on them.
Well, we still had full sight ones also.
So what are you guys running now? Just curious.
We have Argus. No, is the Argus.
Are they red? Argus.
They're
red.
yellow. They're yellow and red.
Okay. Yeah.
We got 2 different color ones. They're the handheld that you
they
can.
have the yellow ones too.
You can put them on the side and you can see the bigger.
Yeah.
Which I also learned that from Andy in one of his videos.
Yeah.
Just turn to the side. I was like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow,
what
ours
mode
does
they go into, and not all cameras have
Yeah,
mode,
we have
but
6 modes.
Six
the
modes.
modes are good. Make sure you're in the right mode for the right part, and then
You can
also
take pictures and video.
take pictures and video, which is great. And then you also, just if it's a single gain or a dual gain or mixed gain, which
Yeah.
is really going to be with Seek. But
Fun fact: the previous fire department I was at in 1999. I went to the fire chief, 98, 99, and I was like, "Hey, have you heard about thermal imaging cameras?" He goes, "No." So I talked to him about it, and he was
Yeah.
an old firefighter, and he was like, "Well, we don't have the money to buy that because they were
Oh, yeah.
$21,000, $18,000 to buy one." And I said, "Well, what if I spearheaded a fundraising campaign?" He goes, "If you can do it, kid, do it. You got my backing." Well, it took me about 6-7 months. I raised enough money to buy the first thermal imaging camera. It was a Bullard, had the handle,
Yeah.
big red bricks.
T1. We got one.
And we spent $16,500 on it. 2 months later, they rescued a 2-year-old out of a house fire.
That's awesome.
Engine crew, nozzle crew went right past the kid in the hallway. Guys came in with the tick,
Found
and they go, "Oh, look, crap, he's right there." They get him out, get him to Riley downtown Indy. He's alive. He's alive today. Graduated high school, graduated college, all that. Severe burns, but he survived. Well, we were the first documented Bullard save
Wow,
with a thermal imaging camera.
I didn't know that.
And so they did Bullard. Of course, that was a marketing thing
Oh,
for
yeah.
them. We did videos. CBS News came out,
That's
did
crazy.
videos. I got an award, a mayor's award. Well, guess what? That second camera, the city found the money to buy
Oh,
us
yeah,
the
they
second
found the money,
camera. So, that was way back in the late 90s.
I bet it's the same camera we have in our museum. It's it's
It is. I
it's
saw
a
it
Bullard
down there.
T1. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that was still in operation when I came on, and it was just the ergonomics of it was terrible, and like the
Yes.
camera was huge and bulky, and
You couldn't crawl. You couldn't crawl with
Oh,
it,
no.
use it, or nothing.
the picture quality is awful. It's amazing the technology and that we have today.
Yeah.
In thermal imaging, it's just getting better with that, and that's something I'm really proud of is being a part of Inside and growing with Inside is the just the opportunity to number one take that knowledge and expertise in thermal imaging to the next level, but to also be a part of the growth in the fire service and pushing that. Yeah.
I mean, you just answered a couple of my questions right there. Just because, one was like, what do we need to do better training
Yeah.
at? I mean, that's a topic.
Well, yeah, you mentioned like in person and
Online
online
training.
stuff. I think there's advantages of both. I will always choose in person. Right?
Yes.
I mean, especially as an instructor. But I do think there's advantages of online training, especially the convenience factor. But I think it really just depends on the type of subject and the topic that we're talking about. If we're talking tactics, I mean, you could do online. I'd still prefer in person because I like having a marker board. I got to draw
Yeah.
things, But I still think that there is advantages to that. I think some officer training could also be done online. But when you get into like the physical aspects, like could you do a ventilation? Could you discuss ventilation in online? Sure.
Yeah.
But that's obviously a physical
Yeah.
part of what we do. Forcible entry. I mean, you can show techniques and show things working, but again, you gotta physically be doing it. So I think there's applications for online training. I think especially today, I think you're going to see more and more of that. But I still think in-person training of what this job is what it is. But I think there are a lot of times where I like setting up a lot of classes with it being hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
I try to tell everybody that in a lot of our classes, like this is a 3-part class. This is going to be a part of things that we discuss and we lecture on. There's going to be parts that we go out here and do physical, hands-on, and there's going to be some parts that's going to be on you. This job is all about accountability, and we're just going to start right here day one. There's going to be there may be a chapter or a certain topic that I want you to read on your own.
Yes.
Now we're going to come back to it and discuss it, but we're not going to spend 8 hours discussing radio communications in fire academy class. You get what I'm saying? I mean,
well, I'm doing the same there. I'm in the UL fire behavior class for instructors that the state's paying for.
Yeah.
I mean, Keith Stakes can't and Dan Majikowski can't go to 60 different departments to present this, so we're doing online.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of videos and stuff, but that's one of those things. Now, I also want to do the fire behavior. I would love to have the Keith Stakes in-person training that they do. So, yeah, there's definitely some value to it, but the networking component of in-person where you meet your student, the fella, you see the same person over and over again in trainings. Now you become friends and network.
Absolutely. And that's the thing about, it's neat about that academy class we do, is that there's so many people from different counties and areas and stuff like that, and when they walk in, some of them don't even know each other. And then they spend the next 6 months together, they're like, they stay in contact with one another, and I think that's what you always do. And
right.
I like you said, networking is a big thing of, I think what's great about the fire service. And like, you know, I've known you guys now for a while. I've known you longer than, you know, I just met him as he walked in here, and like, you know, he's a firefighter. I already know we're on the same page, you know what I mean? And like, you know, I think that's the neat part about it. Really, wherever you're from or whatever is, just the only thing different is maybe the size of your department and, you know, how many calls you have.
Yes.
I mean, when I first got on, you know, again, it's been, you know, 20 years now, but it's like, you know, I used to ask that same, like, what kind of trucks you running? And I don't care what you're running. I don't care what trucks you're running. You know, I don't care if you're running a Pierce or an E1 or a Seagrave or I don't whatever. I don't care. You know, I don't care what color it is. You know, it doesn't matter to me. Just, you know, how into the job are you? And
it's like new delivery photos of fire trucks. I don't want to see the front grill. I want to see the hose bed.
Yeah.
I want to see how that hose bed's laid out.
I like looking at how when they got the doors rolled up and how they got everything together, because I'm like, ooh, I like that idea or whatever. Yeah. I don't really care if it's what color it is.
If it's
doesn't matter to me.
Blacked out, or if it's, you know.
But like I said, I think that's the beauty of the job, really. It's unique and different from different areas and walks in life. But even here in Indiana, you know, I mean, like, you know, down where I'm at, and then all the way up in the northern part of Indiana is so much different.
Yes.
And you know, here you guys are really close to Indianapolis, but if you open that door up right there, you don't look like you're near Indianapolis.
No.
So it's just, you know, this state's pretty unique. But like you said, the training opportunities here with, you know, FTTN and FDIC and everything else. I mean, it's just, you don't understand how much resources you have just right here. And I talked about that. A lot of people like, I've never been to the show before. I've never been to the conference and taken classes before. And I'm like, it is expensive, right?
Yeah.
But do whatever you got to do. Fundraise, do whatever you have to do to get your department there. But you have a unique experience that people are traveling all over the world
to come here,
and it's literally right up the road.
And I love the micro conferences going on. Those things are awesome.
Oh yeah, so there's so many of them. Again, I'll reference Sean Duffy. I mean, he's a big part of running Great Lakes up there, and I haven't got a chance to get up there yet, but I've heard nothing but great things. And there's so many other conferences. Firemanship is a big one right now. That's really close to us, and there's some in Tennessee. That's a big one. Used to be
Andrew Frederick's Training Days.
Yep.
Now it's just called Training Days.
Yep.
But
and then now it's there's Derby City's got one coming up.
Yeah.
Kurt Isaacson's coming up to Anchorage in Louisville.
They do one in Wichita.
Wichita's got a big one. They got Nuggets out there.
First Due's coming up.
Yep. There's just a lot of these conferences that's coming up, and that's what's really great. It just gets people the opportunity to maybe see these big names and listen to these big faces. You know,
we used to have the state fire schools, the weekend fire schools.
Those were, to me, that was honestly the best classes and trainings I ever had. I've been around some big classes and all those kind of stuff, but those local. We had some in New Albany, we had Fishers,
Du Bois,
and Bloomington, and everything else.
Up in Chesterton.
And those were to me the most fun classes, because Well, number one, it was before social media too, but you had like the paper came in the mail of like what class was going to be. And
Yes.
called and got your room, and
nobody was recording that after activities
and
either.
it was so fun afterwards, and it's having good. The Jasper was the best one. I mean, the Jasper Inn, that was a good time, but that place is, I think, demolished now. But it's just those days are gone. You know, the state is doing some great things. They got the Indiana Winter Fire Conference now, which is incredible. It's absolutely free.
Yeah.
And like, you know, they had actually Sean Duffy was there, and you had Jake Barnes was there, and you had a bunch of other people that were coming in, doing some great classes. Jake's class was emotional intelligence, and that was really good. And Sean's was searchable versus survivable. It's a great class if you're trying to get into search stuff and understanding a lot of that.
So the Fire Chiefs Academy they do. I was in the first one, and it's improved since then.
That's awesome.
And that's a great. Now it's state law that every new fire chief has to go through it.
Indiana does a really good job in the fire service of being proactive, high standards. But you know, I mean, with progression and, you know, obviously comes some headache as well. But I mean, I think we got some good leadership. I think things are going good. But
yeah, I did too. Hey Matt, where were we at time? How? Okay.
Right on.
I don't really want to go past 2, so his time's valuable. So, you briefly skimmed over it, but your guys' little museum is awesome.
It is, yeah.
I love the beer can in the hard section.
Yeah, that's cool. So it was just something that, honestly, we've always had a lot of our guys that had been on, you know, back in the day that's kept all that stuff, you know, and they always seen the value in it, and always, I don't know if they ever thought it would be what it displayed ever was, but for whatever reason, they decided to keep so much of this stuff. And then at our 100th anniversary back in 2010, we built our first little museum at our other station, and but it was great for that, for what it was, but because we still have the 48 Mack ladder, and then you've seen the 34 Dodge convertible, then we have the 1910 fire suppression cart too. So but yeah, so we kept all that stuff, and it was set up really well then. But after that, kind of like the whole, you know, 100th anniversary type of thing, it really just was kind of forgotten about, because it was, that station's like a little off a block or two off the main highway, and nobody really went to that station for any particular reason, and so it just didn't get appreciated like it deserved to be, you know, like the stuff. So when we built our new training building back there, we got our fitness center and our training center, we were like, what are we going to do at the front of this? We could have made the classroom bigger, but I was like, I don't think that's maybe overkill at that point. So a couple of us decided that we're going to make a, you know, what better, we do so many classes there now, and we got guys coming to take FOST and instructor and the academy class, that if it's ever going to be appreciated, it's going to be there, right there. And you've seen it as well. And so we put a lot of work into it, you know, and the chief, he's really passionate about the history and preserving all that, and he did a lot of, I mean, we've always been out there doing a lot of work, but you know, we actually just had somebody come yesterday that was from Indy, that's just a guy that tours like museums and stuff like that, and he just, not even a firefighter, just stopped by and took pictures and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's interesting. It's neat. It's basically, it's I call it like a mini museum, right? Because it's not like a full thing, but it's awesome. It's entryway to our classroom and everything like that. And we would host a lot of meetings, and sometimes we'll host some DHS district meetings, training meetings, and stuff like the instructor in-service hours. And it's just really neat to see people spending like, you know, in breaks and beforehand and afterwards, just be able to kind of showcase a little bit of our community and our department as well. We have all of our gear, long coats, long coat 3/4 boots, all that kind of stuff into today's modern gear. We have our original Scott Air Pack from like the 60s, which is really cool. It's like on slings, it's just like a backpack sling. It's really cool. Then we have the other one, the elephant trunk style, and then we go into the, obviously, a more modern cylinder we have in there. We have all of our play pipes and nozzles from, that weighed 40 pounds to what they are today. And then we have the radios and all of our two-ways and mobiles and all that base radios from back in the day. And then we even have some of the old fire suppression bulbs and stuff like that, suspensions. And
we got up there.
Basically most of the helmets and all that kind of stuff. But then like the meeting minute book, which I think is probably the coolest thing there, because it's actually like handwritten, and that the writing is just something you don't see anymore.
No, you don't see that writing.
Kids today wouldn't even be able to read it, because it's all in cursive, and it's just really awesome. But yeah, we have the original whistle in the town that was like, we had 2 of them that it was pulled, and it was just a fire in that area. You had no idea where he was going. So, but you're talking like the early 1900s and stuff. But to me, it's amazing how things have changed. I tell my kids all the time, I go see my grandmother, like, she's 92, 93 years old, and you're like, how much has changed just in your time in vehicles?
Yes.
And TVs and technology. I mean, she talked about it, I remember when she got her first TV in the house, and now it's like you can watch TV on your phone.
Yeah.
And it's really not been that long ago.
No.
Really. And so you look at people in that age group that are like in their 90s, and maybe even their late 80s and stuff like that, of how much has changed in their lifetime in vehicles and housing and the technology. It's just I can't imagine in our lifetimes it's going to change that much. I can't imagine what more could we be doing. I don't know. I don't know what more could change. But
I remember getting in, first learning how to drive the first fire trucks. I got a picture it up there on the wall, 5-speed, 2-speed rear end. And I remember when the old guys were like, I can't believe they're wanting to put automatic transmissions in fire trucks. I mean, they're just not going to get up to speed. How are you going to drive them? And that's like, you wouldn't even think about a manual.
Well, now look where we're at. Now we're at electric fire trucks.
Yes.
Which I'm still not there. But.
Yeah, I'm still not. I'm still not there.
Yeah, but
well, the big thing is I think Pierce is doing a good job because it looks like a fire truck. Rosenbauer's, I guess they'll never sponsor the show now, but that doesn't even look like an American fire engine.
Well, it's weird how we have like the technology and stuff. Like my truck I came in here with, we went on a little day trip with the family, an hour and a half away, and I didn't drive it. It's got the Blue Cruise on it, so it only does the interstate. And I did it on the way here.
Yeah,
and it was just like I pushed the button and I'm just sitting here. And the truck's driving itself, and it's turning the lanes, and it's everything else, and it's just like, it's wild.
What's crazy to me is, we're doing that technology and all that, but we still can't figure out how to get out of a big box or out of a basement without bonking and having to go to a talk around channel. Apparently we talked to the moon in the 60s. People on the moon, so we can't even get out of a concrete building now. So
and it is. It's technology is wild. The worst invention that ever happened, the worst creation that ever happened was DEF.
Oh, yeah, that should not be on fire.
We've never had our last truck that we had that didn't have DEF was like a late 90s truck, and we never had a problem with that truck ever.
Yep.
The entire 30 something, whatever years we owned it, we never had an issue with it ever. An air leak or something minor, but pretty basic out of a truck. And ever since we've had all of our new trucks with the DEF system, it's constant. When this one's out of service, this one gets back in service, that one's out of service now. And it's all related to the same.
Because we never get up to the road temps.
It's all related to the same problem, DEF.
But it's good for the environment.
I guess.
But we're supposed to put something over the paint so you don't want to spill it on the paint or it'll etch the concrete. But it's good.
That's the worst thing that ever happened in fire apparatus was DEF.
I cannot disagree with you on that one. That's for sure. What would you tell your younger self if you were talking to them right now?
Man. A lot of it would be just patience. I think when we get excited about something, we get passionate about something, we want it all right now. We want. It's
even worse now.
Yeah, it is. We want to learn everything. We want to think we know everything. We want to be masters of it all, and really, honestly, we'll never be that. I would say just it'll all work out when it's supposed to. Don't force things to happen. Don't be too quick to be up to a position or to that role, because eventually it'll all work out in the manner it's supposed to. There's a lot of people that go out there and strive to be the captain, or strive to be the chief, or strive to be the lieutenant or something like that, and they do what they got to do to be there, but the timing's not right.
Yeah.
And I feel like that with the right timing, I think, it'll all work out.
Yes.
Even if you felt like you're like, I feel like I should be the sergeant, I feel like I should be the lieutenant or something like that. Do what you got to do to be there and prepare for that. But at the same time, it's kind of like it'll happen when the timing is right. And I think that's a big part for me. Is like, I try to just hit the ground running and go. And I think one of the classes I'm working on right now, or getting ready to start building, is going to be a lot of just that experience of those mistakes learned along the way. 'Cause I feel like that's how you learn a lot, is just the things we did wrong. I think that's a big part for me, is just that, is just being patient and understanding in life things work out the way they work out, and we can try to change the purpose of things, but I think in theory it's just all meant to be what it is.
So I tell people to appreciate where you're at now, because you and I talk, when you're a firefighter you want to do the next thing, but
Sure.
then when you're the engineer, now you're like, man, being a firefighter was probably the best. And then you're an engineer, and then you become a company officer, you're like, man, the engineer was probably the best spot there ever was.
Yeah.
It's just that concept.
That same
engineer
thing,
is a pretty good spot.
There's a lot of times where there's a department a little bit 25 minutes away from me, a great department, and I did some training for them, and the guys were awesome, great group of people, I love the culture there, and they were like, you should come work some part-time for us. And I was like, they're like, yeah, you could do some training. I'm like, well, what now? And I was like, if I'm gonna come work part-time, I'm riding backseat. I will be a part of whatever company training you set up. But there's times where it's just like, I want to play, and I don't, you don't want the responsibility. It's kind of a cheesy thing, but like on Spider-Man, like Uncle, what was it? His uncle, what's his uncle's name? I can't remember now. Uncle Ben, yeah. He says, with greater power comes greater responsibility. And I feel like that's true. Like, when you do get promoted up and stuff like that, it's great. But at the same time, it's like everything changes, really. You're the fun you have is different. The things you got to be a lot more, like we talked about earlier, the transparency of being higher standard. I mean, it really just plays a role significantly with all that.
Yeah. Yes. And when you go to the office, you really appreciate the street even more.
Yeah. There's days where I feel like that, just getting out in the bays is just like such a relief. And then there's days where, you just want to be back in there because there's too much stuff going on out there, but.
What books do you recommend?
So the 7 Habits, was it 7 Habits of Leadership or whatever? That's Stephen R. Covey, whatever. That's phenomenal. I actually have got so many books I almost forget about them now. Like,
I got a whole bunch of them.
I've started a good collection. It's funny to talk about reading. Like I'd have actually probably thought of those, because I normally would be able to just read them off, but like I'm kind of drawing a blank now. There's so many of them. Corley Moore's got a good book. 9 L's is great.
Yes,
9 L's is fantastic. Like I said, I like the Stephen R. Covey. There's another one. I'm looking at the cover of it, and I really can't think of the name of it. Firefighter Resiliency is good. There's parts of it. There's 3 different authors in it. But it's really getting into like effective training and how to grab your people's attention, and David Goggins' stuff's good.
Yes.
He's an animal. That guy's a but there's a lot of good books out there. I really just, like I said, I've read them all so far. There's 2 or 3 books I'm off to the side, still trying to finish. But I tell you, a neat book is out there. Jason Hoffman's got a great book. Is my goodness, I'm looking at the cover of it. Effective Leadership or something. I can't remember the name of it is. and that's a really good book. It's not necessarily a book in like chapters, just like it's 100 like necessarily bits of information. It's really good. I tell you something's really neat. I'm drawing a blank in this one too. Oh my goodness, why am I drawing a blank? You may have it. The guy from FDY, the Brennan.
Oh, Tom Brennan.
Tom Brennan. So his book, but the thoughts that they took us journal and make a book out of it, that was really great. And it's not so much like really taking away anything out of it, but just kind of going back and like replaying and reliving his like days and stuff like that. Like that's
like they just did with Alan Brunacini.
Yes, Alan Brunacini, and then Andrew Fredericks has got his book finally thing out. And, I mean,
that one's actually sitting up there.
You know, those stuff like that, to me, that's really good. There's a lot of people I've heard there's a lot of people I know that's making books right now, or you know, I'm excited to see it come out.
Yeah.
There's so many good books out there. I didn't even start reading into books probably until 5 or 6 years ago, and that's just somebody gave me one. It's funny, the Stephen R. Covey book, the 7 Habits of Leadership, whatever, or Effective Leaders, or whatever, Effective Leadership, I think. My wife had got me that at like a yard sale. She's like, "Hey, I got you this book. I don't know if you want it or not." I'm like, I never heard of it. It wasn't a fire service book, so I'm like, you know, so I put it off to the side, and I started, you know, really getting into the reading and you know, leadership and stuff like that. And all these guys are referencing this book, and I'm kept going, I don't know if I've ever read it, but I feel like I've seen that book somewhere. And as I'm kind of I got done finishing another book, I put it back. That book's sitting there. I'm like, that's that book, you know. So then I finally read it, and I'm like, yeah, it's great, you know. There's one right now I actually have in my bag that I brought. It's really good, and it's about confrontation. It's really good. I can't remember the name of it, like how addressing confrontation with something. I don't know what it is, but it's all about like leadership and company officer stuff. But it's not even fire service related. It's just in general. It's what you take away from it.
Okay.
First in, last out leadership was really good. John Salk is great.
Yeah.
And then Chester Puller or whatever, you know, he's got me, and he's got, that's awesome. You know, Jocko's got some good stuff.
Yeah. I like the new one, that 30 Fires You Should Know.
30 Fires You Should Know.
I mean, I bought that from everybody in my crew for Christmas.
What is it? What's Dennis Riley's book? Not Dennis Riley. Engine.
Oh, Report from Engine Company 82. Yeah.
That's very neat. 3,000 Degrees.
Oh yeah, that's
Worcester
up there.
6, and that's really good.
Yeah.
Those are good books, just telling the story, you know, which is just awesome. But there's some good books, and there's some books that I thought would be fantastic that weren't, you know, and it's what it is, you know. There's some great ones out there for sure. I mean, and I encourage everybody to get out there and read. Actually, for Christmas this past year, I got all my guys, or was the 9 L's.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And have you ever met Jason Holloman?
I've taken one of his classes before.
He is probably the most genuine person I've ever met. Like he is extremely humble. I've taken his class a couple times. I listened to him speak a couple times. Me not even knowing him, I met him once, and he remembered it, which is weird. But I told him, I was like, hey, I'm doing a leadership class, and I put together this class, and we had probably close to 30, 40 people registered for this thing. We just did it locally in town there, and I told him I was going to do it, and he was like, well, give me your information, I'll send you some books. So he sent me 25 books for nothing.
Oh, wow.
And so I ended up taking like a Post-it note and putting under random seats.
Oh, yeah.
And there was like, hey, if you have to look under your seat, now you have a book. And there was like, he didn't have to do that, you know, and it was just,
his book is actually up there.
That's just the way that he is, and he does really good things with the company officer trainings and leadership trainings, and he's just very genuine and very just humble. That's what I liked about him. You know, very soft spoken. Was a keynote speaker. I I don't know, what last year? I think it was the year before last.
I think it was the year
Yeah,
before.
he did a great job. Scott Thompson's also
I
another one
was
that's
just
really.
gonna say he was right there.
His book's great.
Yeah. His book is good.
I can't remember the name of it now, but it's really good.
Yeah.
Talks about has started the colony and everything
Yeah.
else. That culture he's building out there. That's really good.
Before I ask my last one, you have anything?
No.
Okay. This was actually brought over from the podcast I was on before.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting on a park bench, who would you want to have a conversation with? Whether they're moved up, passed away, or
Oh wow, that's a
current president.
that's a tough question.
And that's
don't
why
know.
I don't like. I could have easily texted
Yeah.
it to you, but
That's a tough question. I mean, there's so many that come to mind. I mean, there's people that have been huge influences, right? As far as just not even in the fire service. I mean, I think some people that's. I'm gonna throw one random and little local person here, but one of them that would come to mind would not be anybody. It's like a fire service related at all, but his demeanor and things like that would be like Bobby Knight would be awesome. I think it'd be cool to have a conversation with him. Just there are so many successful people in this world that credit their success to Bobby Knight.
yeah,
People that have moved on into high-fluting celebrities and high-fluting careers and positions and all those things. I think that would be awesome just to kind of go back and take that from him. The accountability he held in people, he didn't care about. It was all about the success he was as a person versus off the basketball court versus in the basketball court. As far as in the fire service, I mean, Andrew Frex would be.
oh, yeah,
I mean, just what he was able to do would be awesome to go back and just listen to him in the early days and just like what got John Salk is another one. There's a lot of people that would be pretty neat to have a conversation with. I mean, Brasini, obviously, but I'd say in the fire service that would not be alive today would probably be Fredericks for sure.
Yeah.
I mean.
I have his fire engineering bread and butter VHS.
That's awesome.
Ones that he did.
We have some. We still have the rescue. What was those videos that maybe wasn't rescue? I think he's all in them,
Yeah.
And then you're talking like they basically were VHS was transferred over to DVD because you can see the graininess in it or whatever. I don't know. I mean, today's world. I mean, Hobbleman's up there too, though. I mean, as far as just his demeanor and stuff. But I don't know. That's a million. I may end up calling you later on and be like, "Here's who I'd be sitting on the park."
This is what I should have said.
That's what
George Costanza moment. This is what I would have said. Most people
there are
won't know
so
who I'm
many
talking
people
about.
that. Oh, I love Seinfeld's great. Yeah, that's the best. But next to The Office, but
Yeah, oh yeah.
I don't know, man. There's so many people out there. Bill Gustin would be one.
So many.
Fredericks for sure. I mean, honestly, somebody that's alive would still be like Jordan. I mean, just and again, we get this big. Me and my kid get this big, conversation. Who's the greatest player of all time? And it's just like there'll never be anybody better than Jordan, in my opinion. And it's not because of what he did in basketball. It's just the mentality and the. I mean, this guy still hadn't played since like, and we're still talking about him. And we're still comparing him. So I don't know. And there's so many amazing people out there that'd be a hard list. I don't know if I've ever even been asked that question. Who would you want to sit in? That's a great question. Who would you want to sit in the park bench and talk with? I mean,
so one of the persons I thought of when I was thinking about this question was crap. I just forgot his name. So important to me. The FDNY chief, 1900s. That came up with the I have no ambition
Which
in one.
Yeah.
And that is to be a firefighter.
Yeah.
The guy, I can't remember his name.
You also have Hooligan up there too. I mean, Hugh Halligan or whatever, So.
So funny side story. This kid I know, I call him kid. He's probably Jordan's age. Works over at Decatur.
Yeah.
He freaking got a Hugh Halligan.
Oh.
Halligan bar.
You told me about this.
On friggin' Marketplace.
Yeah, you told me about this.
And we're like, you little.
Yeah, that's worth a lot of money.
Ed Croker.
I don't think you ever told me his name. You told me about that when you came up and did your guys'.
Yeah, Ed Croker's the one that I would want to sit on the bench. Yeah.
That's a diamond in the rough. Yeah, I don't know. That'd be a great question to ask. That'd be a great question to think about. Who do you want to sit in a park bench with?
You know, the crazy thing is,
you need to ask that on all of these.
oh, that's what I was doing in the
Any
previous
guess?
one.
Yeah.
That's definitely my final question, but I've
Yeah.
never asked Jordan that question.
Yeah.
Well, who would yours be?
Would be a person. It'd be our family dog, River.
Who?
River, our dog.
Our dog.
Because
Damn it.
I feel like your pets,
Yeah.
you probably have
They're
the toughest,
extension of your family.
the toughest conversations because they just listen. And definitely had a lot of deep conversations with them.
River we had for how long?
13
13, 14
13,
years.
14
Yeah.
years. So
Yeah, I
And
don't know.
he
That's
was-
a great question.
And he was the one that was home with my wife and the kids when I'm
Yeah.
at the firehouse. So,
I mean, as far as like just like
wow.
fire-wise, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Fredericks is probably the person that comes to mind the most.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a lot of people go, oh yeah, he's probably, if anybody to pick 2 or 3 people, he's probably the top 2 or 3 people. But as far as just people that were influent, would probably be like Jordan Knight, and as far
Yeah.
as that type of thing goes. I think we talk about like powerful, like presidential, like Roosevelt, Reagan. I mean, outside that's be awesome, But I mean, like, just like personally wise, like you mentioned, like the family dog. I'd probably say like my grandmother or something like that. That was it. She was, as far as family wise, she'd be
Yeah.
awesome. But yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question.
Well, we're gonna have to wrap this up because I think we could be here 4 or 5 hours and
Yeah.
continue on because it's really great sitting with firemen
Yeah.
and
This
have that
has been.
conversation.
I love this. This has been great.
Well, that's
And
awesome.
I was going to say most of the guests we have on, it's going to be like this.
Yes.
Because I don't want to rush anyone through a thought.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
no.
absolutely.
If it takes 2 hours, 3 hours for
I
us to
think
get
this
through
is
it,
really
then
good.
that's what it takes.
I like the setup, and I like this the casualness. of it. It's really
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean we had last one we had the compressor go off.
Yeah, my air
And we're like,
compressor.
keep it in, keep it in. We're not
yeah.
trying to be
Yeah.
we're not trying to be
Yeah.
something we're
have
not
him
like
pop up every so often. He's
Yeah.
a special guest.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the goal of this, to just
Yeah, no,
capture the
this is great.
stories.
Yeah.
They were Stumpo, who's behind the camera and behind the scenes there. He was fortunate enough to get Lieutenant Steve Dillman.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
he's
he-
talking about his podcast. I
Yeah.
think that's awesome. I'm gonna
Yeah,
get some information on that.
So we're gonna. I want to get somebody. We had Mike Spalding on from IFD from Athletic Club Fire.
Yeah.
He was on our last
Yeah.
podcast, The Kitchen Table.
Yeah.
But you can go back and search that. He was good, but I want to get him back on because his story was. That's a story we can't forget. We can't forget those who lay down their lives doing
sure.
what we love because we
Absolutely.
learn from them. Now we keep repeating it. We repeat the mistakes over and over, but we need to learn from them. But
For sure.
like I said, we could continue on, but I think we're going to wrap this up.
No,
I
yeah.
definitely think Captain Jones is going to come back
Yeah.
on again.
We'll
We-
definitely come back on.
No,
I
we-
actually have a whole topic we can cover. We'll talk about here in a minute. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
because I want to ask you if you had people, and we'll write them down. But also that one of the series we want to do is museums and training centers.
Yeah,
so
for
we
sure.
want to come down and
Yeah, I'm
record
working
that.
a lot on the training center part of things. We got a couple other things we're working on, so we'll cover that.
Again, me and Jordan, we appreciate
Yeah,
your
yeah,
time.
thank you very
We had
much.
to
This has
drive
been
up
fun.
here. I know your truck drove you here. So, but again, I've always appreciated the conversation. We don't hang out, but I would love to.
Yeah.
But we have some good conversations
For sure.
when we do, and thanks to everybody for listening. And we're gonna wrap up this episode now, and then we'll probably spend the next couple hours just talking
Yeah.
off air like we did before. So again, thank you, and thanks for coming on.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.